Kevin Smith was right again. It was only a couple of years ago where I was just like, yeah, they're probably going to bring Star Fox back sometime soon. And lo and behold, here it is. And we're seeing a lot of people try and like damage control this. We're trying to see a lot of people try and say that like, Star Fox has been relegated to a Mario cameo character. This doesn't mean anything. This isn't a big deal. The IP is still dead. And like, it's like you don't know how this works. It's like you don't know that they're probably planning a new Star Fox game, that it is in development, that it will be revealed after the movie premieres. I would not be surprised if Star Fox is the big holiday game this year, honestly. Like, it's like you guys are coping and seething. It's like you don't know how this works. Okay? So what we have seen is that the Pretendo community rallied to downplay one of the best games ever made, the best game on Wii U, Star Fox Zero, 10 years ago, and this is the end result of that. You know, these guys gaslit you into thinking the IP is dead, that it wasn't coming back, that it wasn't relevant again. Please ignore Starlink, you know, a Switch game that has Star Fox in it. Yeah, please ignore all the Star Fox references in the Mario movie. You know, please ignore Fox's appearance in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Let's just try and gaslight ourselves like, oh, the series peaked with Assault, which was complete slop, by the way. Star Fox is back, full stop. And this is very, very interesting because this goes back into like what I've been saying for a long time in regards to like the Star Fox brand and in regards to like the community coping about it, because the narrative for a long time that like Star Fox was like completely dead. It was a completely forgotten IP. Nobody cared about it. Nobody remembered it. Nintendo was never going to bring it back. And here we are with Star Fox being featured prominently in the Mario Galaxy movie. And right now, people are like coping about this. Like, oh, I wanted a game, not a movie. But like, you know, when you look at the numbers, when you see how many people are like fired up about this, you can see what they did. Is that Nintendo went above and beyond to bring Star Fox back this time, after the entire community rallied to destroy Zero. Okay, this is the end result of that. And this goes into what I've been saying for years now, where like the whole like dead Nintendo IP narrative has no water, because, you know, these characters are still iconic, they're still relevant, they can be brought back at any time with, stellar new entries. I think a really good example of this, a lot of people are doing this thing now where they're like, oh man, Fox is only known due to Smash Bros. Wow, Super Smash Bros. The most popular fighting game in the world. You know, Fox being one of the most popular characters in it. You're going to tell me that kids aren't going to know Fox McCloud, even though he's been prominently featured in every Super Smash Bros. Game ever, okay? You're going to tell me that kids don't know Star Fox 64 when it's easily playable on the Nintendo Switch Classics. You're going to tell me that kids aren't going to recognize Star Fox after he's in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Like, this is a cope, okay? What we have seen is the complete dismantling of the fanfiction alternate reality that Star Fox Zero somehow killed the Star Fox IP, even though it was, like, by far the best game in the series. Like, this is the end result of that cope. This is the end result of that decade-long conspiracy to downplay the Star Fox IP. Like, to say that Miyamoto lost it, that he was the Japanese George Lucas, that, like, Star Fox was completely dead. This is the end result of that talking point. Star Fox, you know, the most neglected Nintendo IP, is coming back in full force, and there's nothing you can do to stop it this time. You know, this is going to be a huge deal, and the industry right now is coping about it, because they know that if Star Fox Zero can have a return to relevancy, you know, if it can have an appearance in a movie, then even under ideal circumstances, where they're able to gaslight people into thinking that the controls don't work for a game and that it's the worst thing ever made, like, even under those conditions, even that won't kill a Nintendo IP. You know, Star Fox Zero was one of the most, like, widely despised Nintendo releases I have ever seen. I have never seen a Nintendo title get so disrespected and ignored. It got so bad that people started glazing Star Fox Assault, a mid third person shooter that nobody liked when it came out. Like, again, Zero was a very, very interesting title for a lot of reasons, because it kind of was the culmination of everything that had happened during the Wii U years, where people took all these amazing games and just wrote them off and ignored them, and just insisted that Nintendo didn't know what they were doing. After Star Fox Zero, there was nowhere. They set the bar so low that everything else Nintendo did in the years since was seen as a huge improvement. It was kind of like the anti-Last of Us in that way. And now even that is becoming very, very relevant. It doesn't matter how much you hate a Nintendo release. It doesn't matter how much you complain online. The simple fact of the matter is the momentum behind a Nintendo is too great to stop. PewDiePie in his prime could not stop Nintendo at this point. And it's remarkable seeing just how many people are legitimately angry about this. I thought we were getting a Mario Galaxy movie. Yeah, imagine being this confused about a Mario movie being set in space featuring Pikmin and Star Fox. That what a novel concept, especially when you stop to think about what's probably going to happen. Considering we know the Donkey Kong movie is coming, they're just setting up entries in those movie franchises. Pikmin and Star Fox are coming next. And I imagine that's going to be Nintendo's strategy going forward, is just oh yeah, we're going to have wildly different Mario movies featuring different characters. Because this is the thing that gets me on the Mario Galaxy movie that a lot of people have not talked about. We're probably going to have to make another video about this, but Donkey Kong isn't in it. What other film franchises have you heard of where a major character just vanishes and comes back with his own setting or world? That's what we're going to see going forward, is that a lot of these characters are establishing themselves in their own way, and their presence in the Mario cinematic universe. Again, they're setting up for grand things going forward, and of course this is going to lead to video games. This isn't going to be like Marvel, where everyone goes to see the movies and nobody cares about the comics. This is going to make characters like Star Fox and Pikmin way more popular than they would have been otherwise. It's very interesting. Donkey Kong being in the Mario movie led to the rise in Bonanza. That's how they're approaching these things now. And I think people are just not understanding this, is that they are directly making these decisions to promote niche characters that have been struggling in recent years for various reasons. Okay, seeing Pikmin blow up in recent years. A big reason for that is probably for the Super Mario Bros. Movie. So it's mainstream and more associated with Mario. Star Fox is being associated with Mario now. Again, the entire cope that people have that Star Fox is a niche IP or nobody cares about it. How is that argument gonna function when Star Fox is in the Mario Galaxy movie? It isn't. Okay, this is the beginning of the return of the space canine, and I could not be happier.